Hello everyone. I hope all is well on your end. I just finished my afternoon walk and I wanted to, you know, just touch base with you all because it's been a while since I've posted an Ascension vlog. Primarily because I've been giving you all updates in my videos anyway, so you have an idea, sort of what I've been experiencing over the past few months. But I've experienced more things that I haven't really shared as of yet, so I'm going to share them now. Well, first of all, one of my guinea pigs passed away. I have 4 of them, and now we have 3, and he passed away within about, it's going to be a week tomorrow. And it was very sad because he was the oldest pig, about 6 years old. You know, they're typically old at that point. And he slipped away pretty quickly. It was hard because I was actually with him during his whole death transition. And at first I wasn't going to be, because I started to see that he was doing that involuntary jerking thing that animals and humans do before they die. And I didn't want to witness that. So I went into the room to just kind of be by myself and be sad. And my fiance told me, it'd be better for you to stay with him because during these transitions, our pets need us while they're in the, stage of death. And as soon as he said that, I was like, okay, yes, he's absolutely right. Let me go back. So I stayed with him during that transition. I don't know how long it lasted, but it was very difficult to witness that. And I was there and just, touching him and holding him and letting him know that it would be over soon. And, he slipped from the body and that was it. And I just cried my eyes out and I allowed myself to really grieve. I grieved the entire day. And the next day, didn't feel so bad. I was still sad, and I still am sad because I miss him. It's interesting to see how a small animal like a guinea pig can come with such a presence, because once he left, you could feel the energy of the guinea pig cage change. I know it sounds funny, but, it's something that is it's a profound experience, because I think we underestimate a lot of times the impact that other beings that are not human beings make. That includes plants, okay? Not just animals. But basically, Harry, my guinea pig that passed away, was holding the space for quite a long time. He grounded the space. He kind of almost laid the foundation for the space. And he was almost like the anchor of the space. And then when he died, the space felt almost not just like something was missing, but almost like, wow, things don't feel as grounded anymore in there. So it's interesting that a guinea pig could do that. But he was a unique pig. He wasn't like the normal guinea pig. Typically guinea pigs are relatively skittish, They tend to be, very fearful and picky. Also sometimes with food. He was not like that. Okay, he would pretty much eat anything. He didn't mind, he wasn't scared to be picked up, but sometimes he just didn't want to be bothered. So there was a difference. He just didn't want to be bothered half the time. He just wanted to eat and be left alone, while the other pigs were just kind of triggering each other and, doing all this kind of stuff. He just wanted to be left alone. So I get it. I'm kind of like that too. Just give me my food and leave me alone. So without him here, it is different. It's definitely an adjustment. But beyond that, I want to talk to you all about other things that I've been experiencing on my journey. One of those things has been not knowing and not caring. And that's interesting for me because I have this almost innate curiosity to want to know the mysteries of the universe. What happened during this time? What does this mean? What is this about? Right? And I think a lot of us have that curiosity. We want to know what things are, what happened thousands and thousands of years ago, and what all these different things mean. But within the past, I would say month, I had this sense of like, you know what? I don't know, and I don't really care. Like, I don't give a crap about what this means and what happened thousands of years ago. At the end of the day, to me, it doesn't matter. And if there is anything that I want to know, it can't come from a space of trying to figure it out, which I think is the typical space that we tend to come from, is wanting to figure things out and have a mental understanding of what certain things mean, especially like metaphysical stuff and spiritual stuff. These days, I know information just through feeling and experiencing, as opposed to trying to figure things out. And what was really cool is during that period, I also had this desire to learn. At the same time, not knowing and not caring. It's a very odd combination. But I had this feeling of, okay, I don't know, I don't care, it doesn't matter, really doesn't make any difference. And yet, wanting to read books about different topics. But it wasn't about metaphysical stuff, it was about like different religions like Hinduism and Buddhism. And as I was reading this information, it was so relaxing and it was a really pleasant experience. Whereas in the past, I kind of disconnected myself from accumulating information in that way because it was almost stressful for me. Because like, oh God, it's just too much information. But it wasn't like that. It hasn't been like that. It's like, okay, if I'm reading and I'm learning, I'm being receptive to this information and I'm letting it absorb into me the way that it needs to absorb into me. And, instead of trying to take the information and try to piece it together and figure out, okay, how does this Hindu concept connect to this other concept, and just letting myself be in the information and enjoying the information for what it is, and not attaching myself to that information, just letting it be. And if I forget it, doesn't matter. So there's been kind of like this detachment from knowing on a mental level and at the same time absorbing information. So I think it's really cool. Also, the next thing has also been me gaining clarity on my inner voices. Always happens. Gaining clarity on my inner voices. I actually posted about this on Instagram too. About filtering out those voices that urge you in a certain direction that is not in alignment with who you really are. So we all have that inner voice. We have the pure inner voice, and then we have those egotistical, nagging inner voices. For me, I grew up with a very perfectionistic mother, and everything needed to be perfect. And if you did something a certain way, let's say with cleaning, if you didn't do it exactly the way she wanted you to, it wasn't enough. So I grew up with that. And throughout the years, I've been holding on to that program and that paradigm where it's like, okay, you have to, let's say, clean the inside of the fridge, or you have to move the couch and vacuum behind the couch. Doesn't matter if you're tired, doesn't matter if you're not feeling well, get up and move that couch. Get up and clean the inside of that fridge. And it just hit me one day where I felt that urgency, I felt that fear, or I felt that just pressure. And then I'm like, but where is that coming from? It's weird because I didn't really ask myself that question, but that's what it felt like. It was almost like I was able to separate that voice that was saying, you have to do this, you have to do that, or you're not good enough. Or, if you don't do it now, you better do it later. And And I thought to myself, what difference will it make if I don't move the couch 1 week and vacuum under the couch? What difference will it make if I put off cleaning the fridge for another week? Who's gonna die? You know, what volcano is gonna erupt? What's gonna happen to the children in, you know, Yugoslavia if I don't do these things? Nothing. Nothing is going to happen. And I was like, wow, like I've been listening to this voice for years and it wasn't even me. That was the voice of my mother, the voice of anyone else who told me that whatever I did wasn't good enough. And I needed to make sure that I did it or else the world would end. And that's not true. So that started to expand a little bit. And that started to move into other areas, like anger. Like, okay, the anger is there, but where is the anger coming from? I think depending on the origin of anger, where it's coming from, it can be a good force that gets the momentum going if something needs to change, if something needs to happen. Sometimes anger can be an indication that something needs to change. I get that. But if it's anger over things that are insignificant or things that, I don't know, I have to give you a personal example, I guess. You know, there are certain things that we tend to get angry about that don't really matter. It's like, at the end of the day, is it really that big of a deal? And which part of us is getting angry? Is it the part of us that feels that if we don't get angry, if we don't defend ourselves, if we don't stand up and make it very clear that we're powerful, that we're going to be trampled over and we're going to be destroyed in some way? Because that voice of anger is different. And even that is an indication that something needs to change, because that kind of anger is destructive. It's not good. Sometimes anger can be connected to grief or to pain. And the grief, depending on what it is, depending on where it's coming from. Sometimes it can also be connected to us not feeling safe in our bodies and in our beingness. So we feel the need to always make sure that we're not letting people cross the line. I'm using that example because it relates to me. So it might relate to you as well. And of course, there's many different examples of how anger can be destructive, and also where that kind of anger can come from, where the origins of that anger are, you know, where those are coming from. So that was a very profound insight. I've been much more mindful of the emotions and the feelings that emerge, and working on responding as opposed to just automatically reacting. And that's not necessarily easy, because I feel like we react all the time. It's hard to not react as a human being. But we can also, if we have the opportunity to respond, then we should take that opportunity. Especially when we're talking about this idea of authenticity, right? I feel like we have this idea that engaging in destructive anger is authentic. And it's like, but is it? Is that kind of anger authentic? Is it really us? Is it really us in our purest form? Is it us, or is it our trauma? Because our trauma is not us. We could say it's authentic in the moment because that's what we're feeling. We're feeling that. But is the origin of that feeling really us? That is the $1 million question. So it's an interesting thing to think about. I'm trying to see if there's anything else I wanted to share with you. I already shared with you that there was a lot of heart stuff going on. A lot of heart stuff going on with the regular, you know, general heart area, but then also the higher heart. And that was an emotional roller coaster, man. That was crazy. It did subside, though. It did subside. And now things feel a bit more normal. I'm still kind of like working through some things, but generally things have kind of gone back to normal, like feeling balanced, basically. So I think that's it for now. If there's anything else that I want to share, I will do so. Yeah, okay, I did have a thought of something else I wanted to share, but I think I'll save that for another video, because that's not really a vlog in the sense that I'm updating you, but more so insights that I'm going to share. So I'll do that next time. All right, so sending you all so many blessings and love and gratitude, and I'll see you again soon. Take care. Bye-bye.